Hello everyone, hi guys, Joe. Hopefully you're having a wonderful Monday. We're back again with another Fanatics Weekly Review where I go through the top 100 soccer items auctioned over on their platform. Pretty big week as they all have been recently, so hopefully you're excited. If you enjoy these, make sure to leave a like, helps me, helps the channel. But with that said, here we go. Into the auction block. So we start at $400, a little lighter than last week. They can't all be like last week, but that's okay. We start with a Yair PSA 2.5 from 1950. Haven't really seen this set. I'm not like a Brazilian vintage expert, but that would imply to me these are pretty hard to find. PSA 2.5 for 400 doesn't seem crazy for the player and for apparently how rare this set is. I think that's a decent deal if you're into that. Only 11 watchers, which to me implies there's not that many people into it, but I think it's pretty cool. 2021 Black Neymar Auto, PSA 9. The auto actually looks really good. I would like an auto grade on that if I'm not going to zoom in, but presumably if there's no streakiness. 2018 125 Purple Velocity PSA 10 Vinny goes for $420. Again, doesn't seem like a crazy price if you're into that type of stuff either. White Sparkle Bukayo Saka 2020 Prism. PSA Pop 107 for $420. We have a Barca Lionel Messi from 2005, PSA 9 for $420. Don't know what these typically go for. I probably would have looked it up if I was a little bit more focused whenever I grabbed the prices initially, but that also doesn't seem bad. It's a nice looking sticker. We got a Rafinha Patch Auto out of Obsidian for $430. This Manga Ronaldo out of 49 PSA 10 goes for $450. Felt like a fairly high price considering these parallels in Revolution usually don't do anything crazy. I'm a big Galactic guy, and those are like out of 10 or 15 is the estimated print run. This goes for 500 nearly, which for PSA 10 I thought was pretty good, but PSA 10 Messi Ronaldo's doing good prices lately. The Cruyff Sicker Verlag at $460. I think that's a good price. I will admit I own some of these, so, am I biased? I don't know. It's a year earlier than the Palarex, but it is a panel, so, depending on how you view that. But it is a year earlier and much cheaper, so I thought it was all right. Gold 2014 Prism for $460. Got a Neymar Gold here out of 10 for $490. PSA 7. This base Top Liga goes for $528. These could have been had all day for like $100 and, $500 now. Luis Monti FIM 1933 Torino. PSA 2 goes for $528. I did look up comps on this because I was interested. Don't mind that on the right. Just some searching I was doing last night. This has gone up consistently, 370, 460, 520, so it just keeps going up. And, when you only have one sale a year, I can kind of understand why. Topps Barca Team Set Neymar 101 goes for $528. I think that's a patch. It's kind of sad that it's not better, but is what it is. Heung-min Son and Harry Kane Duel 2022 Topps Chrome goes for $540. John Michael PSA 9 Gold Prism for $528. A Donruss out of 49 PSA 10 Canvas goes for $600. Again, thought this was a good price. I do like the Donruss set. I think it looks good, 2016 Donruss. But the Canvas parallels don't do a whole lot. They just got like a textured sort of thing going on. Purple Mbappe for $600. Lewandowski Gold PSA 8 for $630. I thought this was kind of a deal. If I was more of a Lewandowski guy, maybe I would have went harder at this or even tried at it. I didn't really, but we'll see some gold sales later that make this look kind of cheap, I think. I sold a decent amount of Messi in this auction block. I believe in Messi. I like Messi, clearly. I think he's a decent player, but I think it's also just, his market's so high. I want to move into some vintage stuff, and $630 for this felt like a good price, honestly. I think the last one I sold on here like a month ago probably did like $400, so this is a good bit higher, and I think deservedly so. eBay, you can barely find any Messis on eBay for $600, so I think that's fair. A 101 Pedri Top Simplicity Don for $660. A Lamine Yamal out of 35. Year of the Dragon Wood. Okay, I guess it's a wood parallel. I don't know, $690 for that one. Which for a Lamine Yamal rookie auto, I guess, doesn't seem crazy. 101 Dani Olmo, $720. IP Topps Now auto for $720. I definitely take whatever this is over that. Topps Now cards for this can probably be had in the 2 digits, I would imagine. I mean, it can't be, that crazy. 59 Saddam Rivera goes for $750. I did look up comps on this, and they've generally gone up if you give it a peek. Looking back, PSA 1 for $160. SGC 4.5 in 2023 did $540. And, I mean, just compared to a lot of these sales, you can see here, $492 for PSA 3. I think the SGC sale was a good price, and these have been up a good bit. Pre-boom, this was actually really, really cheap. Could have been had in a 3.5 for $39. Now, maybe that flew under the radar, but implies to me those are up quite a lot from pre-boom, which I sort of noticed. Rivera has a very strong market for vintage, in a player that's definitely memorable, definitely important, but not like, top echelon. Beyond that, this 2006 triple panel goes for $750. This was huge during the COVID boom. I think those were going for like $5 to $10K, and this goes for $750. A Prism PSA 10 Silver Neymar for $750. If you're into Silver Prism 2014, I think that's a fun one to pick up at $750. It doesn't seem crazy to me, but I'm a Neymar guy. I like Neymar. A lot of people are down on him now. To me, still a great player. Still definitely one of the players of the tournament for this go-around. Of course, got injured. We know what happened after that. Wasn't great, but still a really fun set. So PSA 10 2006 Cristiano Ronaldo, $780. You have a Iniesta and Lamine Yamal duel from Topps Deco for $780. BGS 7 Messi goes for $780 as well. I don't have to say, Messi's are up. This is still up, but it's actually not like ridiculously up. This was probably like a $350 card maybe. So that's, a little double, but nothing crazy compared to the rest of Messi. Select tie-dye Cristiano Ronaldo out of 15 for $810. We have a 2003 PSA 10. This is the lesser desirable Mega Cracks, but it goes for $810. Still looks really good. I like the look of it. Tie-dye Bale Ronaldo patch for $870 at a PSA 10. You got a BGS 9 2006 World Cup card of Messi for $870. I did not win this, but I took a stab at it, and I still think it was a decent price, honestly, for whoever picked it up. 2020 Immaculate Collection Gold Messi on at 10 for $930. Immaculate parallels aren't people's favorite, but it's still gold. It's still a nice looking card. It's Barca playing days. I mean, I think that was a good pickup. Green Cristiano Ronaldo, I also think this was a good pickup. I don't know if it doesn't, well, there's only 16 watchers, so that implies to me not a lot of people are into this, but the greens are hard to find, and a Ronaldo for $930 does not seem bad to me. Looked up comps. SGC4 recently did $750. Raws were doing $500 to $600, and there's only been one sale in like the last 2 years. So yeah, I think that was decent. But again, I like the green parallels. Maybe people don't. 2014 Kagawa Gold goes for $990. Above it, a jersey number Cristiano Ronaldo for $990. We have this Top Liga. It says foil in the title again. Bad on Fanatics. Bad. Not a foil. Doesn't even say foil on the SGC slab. So don't know how they got that, but the price does imply to me that there might have been a little premium paid for the foil, so, not great. Keep it moving. I don't know anything about women's soccer other than, some American players, so I'll spare you. 1958 Aquarella goes for $1,100. Kind of washed like a CGC one we saw recently, so maybe it does a little lighter than it should because of that. Typically about $1,000 a grade, so you would assume $1,500 on this, but I think the colors or lack thereof probably plays a factor there. Lamine Yamal out of 99 auto. A gold patch Cristiano Ronaldo out of 7. Actually doesn't seem crazy. Again, in a world where, Ronaldo stuff's always crazy. Out of 7 gold patch, $1,200. Doesn't seem nuts to me. 2020, I tried my hand at this one as well. A red wave refractor. Of course, red wave, not as desirable generally as a red, true red. Also Juve kit, so there's a discount on that, but nonetheless. 1959 VAV disc Gianni Rivera PSA Authentic goes for $1,300. I didn't look this one up, and again, I kind of regret that because I barely ever see these, if ever. So wish I would have, but nonetheless, definitely a fun one to see go. And I always find these little PSA like coin slabs really they look nifty. 2017 Camo Cristiano Ronaldo goes for $1,350 in a BGS 9.5. We have a Michael Jordan card, a PSA 8 Top Liga foil. I thought that was a decent deal. There's like a PSA 9 on eBay auction right now that's at like 12 grand or something. So, a tenth of the price for a PSA 8. If you're into that, doesn't seem bad. Granted, the grading premium gets really drastic because 9's hard and there's only like 110. That was the answer to last week's question, in case you're wondering what the rarest Messi PSA 10 rookie was. It's this. But an 8 goes for $1,400. And a Zebra Lionel Messi out of 25 PSA 9 field level goes for $15. And that gets us through the first half of the auction block. moving pretty quick. 10 minutes in, let's go. And we got some more Messi. So PSA 6 Campio goes for $1,500. As always, could have been had last year, 2 years ago for $200 to $300 probably. $1,500 now, no big deal. An 8.5 Campio Messi for $1,600. That, of course, is my sale there. Generally on the Messis that I sold in this auction, I thought they went a little light, but ultimately Messi's so high up and BGS is not the fan favorite, so I get it. I don't think they did great, but I'm definitely happy with the money I got and looking forward to moving that elsewhere. So, is what it is. I think $1,600, probably a good deal if you got it, congratulations. But again, that was like a $500 card a few years ago, or a couple years ago. So, I was happy with $1,600. Historic Signatures, Copper, Pele. This goes for $1,600. Off sticker. I like the look of these generally, but Copper, Parallel, probably not the best. Off sticker also certainly not helping. Grading it an auto authentic is definitely a choice, not one I would have made, but whatever. Alexis Sanchez Gold Prism, PSA 9 for $1,600. We have a black Velocity Lionel Messi out of 25, PSA 10 for $1,800. I did look that one up, and actually not that high in terms of the bump we've gotten. Although, granted, I guess there's no sales here in like 2023, 2024, so you really can't see how low it might have gotten at some point in time. This is an all-time high, but not by a crazy amount, so there's that. This auto, definitely would have taken the Black Velocity over this auto here. I think the Black Velocities look really good out of 2018 Optic, so, I'll give it that. Above it, Kaboom Christian Pulisic for nearly $2K and a PSA 10. People love the Kabooms. People love Pulisic. I love Pulisic. I don't love Kabooms, but, it is what it is. Next to it, PSA 6 Franz Beckenbauer Bergman goes for $2K. This is up a good bit from the bottom that we saw a couple years back. So $2K here, $2K before, $1,200 literally actually just in July. And then before that, $900 in March, $1,100 last year, $1,000 last year, $900 last year. Don't love the jumbo slab, but what are you going to do? Back during the booming days of vintage in 2021, well, closer to 2022, this was actually a lot higher, so it's still a discount. Didn't look at the back. I guess we can go ahead and give it a peek just to show you what I'm generally looking for. Got a hair in there. There you go. You get a free hair. What's wrong with that? Text looks pretty good, though. Generally, you want to see if the text looks faded or cracked. I guess actually there's a little bit of crack in there in the Beckenbauer. Maybe a little bit of paper loss right there if we want to get really picky. That small little speck. I don't know. It looks generally pretty good, but there's a little iffiness. But I think that looks better than a lot of the other ones I've seen, so I'll give it a pass. 2023 Obsidian Etch out of 10 auto Lionel Messi. That's a nice looking auto. That goes for $2K. Green Kylian Mbappe. I'm surprised this does such a good number, although, it's Kylian Mbappe. Maybe he's getting his due finally. There was a Neymar that sold for $350 that I am kicking myself over missing. It went to the 1-minute auctions, and I just forgot about it, and I am still kicking myself. So $2K for Kylian Mbappe is quite the premium over a Neymar there, although I guess neither one has a Ballon d'Or, but at least Mbappe still has a shot. 2024 Topps FC Barcelona 125th anniversary gold Ronaldinho patch. This is a match-worn patch, and the Ronaldinho patch is really good. So I get it. Generally, I'm not the biggest fan of like post-playing day stuff like this, but it's a really cool card, so I get it. Samuel Eto'o, PSA 9 for $2,200. I thought this was actually a good deal. Like, if you're an Eto'o guy, this is probably one of his best cards. Pop 1 of 1, none higher, $2,200. One of the best African players ever. I thought that was a good deal. So, if you pick that up, congrats. That's a fun one for sure. Above it, a Kaká 2022 Topps Dynasty out of 5 goes for $2,200. Kaká even understood that the layout of these cards sucks, and he positioned his auto perfectly. So shout out to him for being a cognizant signer. We have a 22, not modern, 1958 Aquarella Pele PSA 2 for $2,300. Generally, in my mind, Aquarellas have always been, at least they've been lingering around 1,000 per grade on the lower grade, so this is, relatively in line. George Best, 2002, I'll get out of it. I'm just so used to saying modern sales, but 2002, George Best out of 200 BGS 9 with an 8 auto, goes for $2,700. I looked up comps. I think this was a good deal as well. Got to close that, but last sales raw, $2,500, $3,500, $3,600. And then back here, $1,600 for a 9.8. That might be the same one. I don't know, and I'm not going to check, but nonetheless, 1,600 there, so maybe it's up a good bit, but ultimately, compared to most of the sales, I think that's a pretty good sale, or a pretty good buy, that is. Beyond that, 2019 green, Erling Haaland. People, Topps Chrome UCL is generally the preferred sort of rookie for most people. Haaland, not really. I think the design of this year didn't do him any favors, and you also have Sapphire competing against it, but PSA 10 goes for 2,700. We have a PSA 10 Kylian Mbappe rookie for 3K. This one initially stuck out to me as being up a good bit, and it is, actually. This is it is a relative high over the last year. If we look over the last two, it's still down a little bit. It definitely came down a lot. I mean, if we want to look all time, peak was 20K, and we're at 3, so, still relatively low, but over the last year or two, it's not actually a bad sale. It's actually up a good bit from the bottom. The bottom was like 15 to 1,600. PSA 6 2002 Cristiano Ronaldo goes for 3K, and I love the Mbappe sticker, sure, but I guess at the same time, if we go and look, did I close it? I did close it, but I'm pretty sure the Mbappe is like a pop 200 to 300 and in a PSA 10, and Cristiano Ronaldo's sticker is probably like a pop 200 in total. So, relatively, I think the Ronaldo's still a deal, even at 3K, which is high because a 6 could have been had for like 1K at the bottom, and even recently could have been had for like 1.5 to 2K. So it's still a high sale, but I mean, I still think it's a deal, and I will say I own a couple of these in higher grades, so, am I biased, or just do I believe in the sticker and that's why I own them? You can question yourself or question me on that if you want. Topps Dynasty, Erling Haaland, 3,300 here. Feels like a pretty good price. Just, I know a lot of the Messis were doing 5 to 10K for like his PSG stuff, and, even some of his Barca stuff would be on the higher end of that, but 3,300 for Haaland doesn't seem bad at all. Well, actually, it seems pretty good, is what I mean to say. Purple 2017 Refractor Messi, this also was really good. 3,300 here. Past sales, literally just, this year you could have got one for 960. So, 3,300 is a nice little bump for sure. Monday Chromo PSA 8 for 3,300. Could have had these all day for 700 to 800 probably. This goes for 33. The Monday Chromo is doing really good right now. I think there's a bit of a narrative around it. That's also a really nicely centered copy. It's also recently graded, so that probably helps it as well. But there's a lot of talk about the Monday Chromo recently, and I think it's deserved. Personally, I put the Este above it, the Este sticker, but, I get that other people might not care as much about a sticker. Personally, I think it's meaningful, but, a Monday Chromo is certainly a meaningful rookie as well in my mind. Above it, 2 BGS 9 of the number 35 Campios go for 3,700 a piece. Of course, one of them's mine. And again, I thought this was, a fair price, maybe a little light if you appreciate BGS. It is Campio, and I think PSA 9s are probably like 8, 9K, I would say, but BGS certainly not in favor at the moment, and hasn't really been for a long time, to be honest. Pedri PSA 9 for 3,800. This is why I was saying the Lewandowski seemed cheap. Granted, the Lewandowski was a PSA 8, but, I'd take a PSA 8 Lewandowski over a Pedri PSA 9 straight up. So, when you add in, there's a 5x multiple. I just think that Pedri's so expensive. And I get it. Pedri's a, great player, really fun. But at the same time, Lewandowski's a great player as well. So, that's sort of where I'm looking at it from. But to each of their own. I also think this is another example. 2018 PSA 10 Neymar gold for 4,200. So just, a few $100 more, you can get a Neymar PSA 10. I actually really like the design of 2018 as well. I think it's hot take. I think 2018 is the best Prism World Cup design that we've had so far. And I don't know if that's a hot take, but I feel that way personally. I really like the design. I think the gold on gold or gold on yellow looks so good there. I think that's a great pickup if you're into that. Lamine Yamal red, or a Lamine Yamal, it's a red The Man, which I believe was a case hit. And we also have a 1/1 Topps Total Football. And, take your pick there. I like The Man generally. The insert, that is. Lamine Yamal is fine. I think he's a great player, but it's certainly priced in that he's like, an all-time great at this point, which a lot left to be shown. But it's crazy because we'll look even further. His prices are as strong as ever. And, he lost the Nations League over the summer, lost the Ballon d'Or. He's kind of injured right now, and the market just keeps going for him. So it seems like people don't care. They like him, and it is what it is. But, I would just warn people. We saw what happened to Mbappe and Haaland. They were well-liked in the hobby, and they're having great careers, and still their prices tanked. So unless Lamine Yamal goes on to win, like 5 Ballon d'Ors, which he certainly could, but unless he does that, I just don't know if the price is sustained, because not only are the prices as high as ever, the populations are as high as ever, the amount of numbered cards are as high as ever, so, there's a give and a take there. I thought this was really strong, 2018 NT. I know it's NT, but it's a sticker auto, and NT in soccer actually doesn't get a ton of love in 2018, which is kind of surprising, but this one implies it does get love, so, what do I know? 2018, gosh, I didn't mean to do that. 2018 Lionel Messi Orange PSA 10 for 5K. Looked up comps on this. There's no PSA 10 that have sold, so it's a pop 1 of 3. I'm sure that helped. And ultimately, based on the PSA 9 sales last year, a 10 probably was anywhere from $1,500 to $2K. So 5K actually isn't a crazy jump considering what most Messi has done. This PSA 9 Campio was probably $1,000 to $1,200 card, and now it goes for $5,100. So Messi rookie's doing good. We have an R9. I think this again is kind of preposterous. You can have an R9 post playing days patch auto, or you could get a Pele IP sign, pretty rare 61 OMB in a great grade PSA 6 with a 9 auto. It's a shaky auto, so make of that what you will. Some people despise them, some people I don't know if people like them necessarily, but I thought this was a pretty good price. It was lingering at like 1K going into extended bidding, and I thought that was cheap. 6K on the other hand seems decently strong. It says the Pele collection on it. If you haven't heard about that, I guess we could look at it here and talk about it. But yeah, again, not a great auto. Let's look at the back. Yeah, definitely bleeds through, but the back looks clean other than that. And the auto's rough. I get it. That's sort of a late in life auto, and not people's favorite. The Pele collection moniker on this is one I've always struggled with, because from my understanding, it says the Pele collection as if he owned these and just had them. But from what I understand, he didn't really own them. Like, do you think Pele was collecting 1960 ONBs in good grade and just keeping them raw forever in some binder? I find it hard to believe. I think someone just, if I had to guess or if I had to conjure up my thoughts, I feel as if someone probably just gave him a bunch of them and said like, oh, here you go, and then had him sign them and claim they were his. I don't know for sure. If anyone has the story on it, feel free to share. But nonetheless, pretty good price. PSA 10 Obsidian Color Blast Lamine Yamal for $6,300. This is nearly an all-time high sale here. If we go by price, it actually might be. Yeah, it's an all-time high. So again, sort of what I was mentioning earlier. This breaks through the May and June prices, which already seem strong, and does an all-time high price there. Lamine Yamal net from I think it's actually a Euro net, but does it have rookie? It has national debut on it. Okay, $6,300 there. I believe this auto is considered to be a later auto, like a second-year auto, but could be wrong on that. PSA 9 Campio for $6,300. Again, probably could have been had for $15 all day. We have a PSA 9 Record Pele. This is a pretty good price, $7,500 on this, and generally they're anywhere from like $4,000 to $8,000. And usually when you get closer to $8,000, you have the full record with Pele and Garrincha. This is just Pele on his own, pop 1 of 13, none higher, so it is as high as you can get for him. But 75 is definitely strong. Above it, a 1963 Eusebio yellow nameplate Velita back. This is the best that you can get in terms, it's actually the best you can get in terms of the 1963 Eusebios. The yellow front, that's the nameplate here. The more common one is blue, and the yellow is pretty hard to find in general, but once you add in the Velita back, it's even harder. So, really good price here. When we go and look, this is an all-time high sale. $8,100. PSA 3s had sold in the past for $36 and $28. So that would imply back then, a 4 might have been like $5 to $6K. So it seems like it's up a little bit from 2022, 2023 pricing, which I think is deserved. It's a, iconic sticker. And, again, it's always tricky saying iconic, but in that situation, I feel like it is certainly iconic. 2020 Red Refractor Topps Chrome Lionel Messi out of 10. That goes for $8,100. In terms of past sales here, I just sort of messed that up a little bit, but we're back. This goes for an all-time high price by a long shot. There was a PSA 8 in the past, a BGS 8 in the past. Those did $870 and $1,600. So, little premium here at $8,100. PSA 5 71 bits for $8,700. This is graded a decent while ago, but actually looks pretty good from the front. I'm not going to check it further, but still a decent price. These are going relatively strong. As we'll see when we get a little bit higher, I think they're still doing good. I think top-tier Messis in general are down just a smidge from the highs that we've seen lately, but, when something goes up 400% or so, being down 10% isn't the end of the world. BGS 9 Monday Chromo for $8,700. Again, these are doing really, really good. $8,700 here. This could have been had for like $15 probably. And that was, again, just like 3 to 6 months ago. Top Liga Foil for $9,300. I did mention the eBay one was at like $12K, so I think this is a relative deal depending on how you see that eBay auction, but $9,300 there. Definitely a premium over the 8 we saw earlier this auction for like $1,500 or whatever that was. Maybe closer to $2K. It was like $1,500. But yeah, good premium there, and I think it's a fun card, honestly, but most people don't like panels, and it's, one of the odder of the 2004 releases, but it's about as high of a grade as you're going to get, truthfully, so not a bad price, I guess, if you consider that. $11,000 here for this 2004 Spanish Messi. This is the Campeón, and it goes for $11K, which, again, pretty strong. It's a 9.5, so depending on how you see it. It is a Gem Plus as well. It's got 3 9.5s and a 10 for Surface, so I would assume that helped it a good bit. And, people don't necessarily love the team set, but I do think this is the best looking one in the team set, and I don't really think it's close, personally. I really like this card, but nonetheless, $11K there. Up above it, I did sell my one and only 71 bis, which is certainly a decision. I don't know if I'll live to regret that or not, but I've moved that money a little bit into other things that I like a lot. So, it is what it is at the end of the day. This was probably near the bottom pricing on it. It was probably close to like 3K. So it's up a good bit from the bottom for sure. Do I think it did as strong as it could have? Probably not. Was I wishing for like 15? Sure. But, 12.6 is fine as well. And we'll see some strong sales later that would imply this, maybe could have done a little bit higher, but ultimately it is what it is. PSA 10 of the number 89 and 62 next to it here. These are both Campeón, I do believe. It says so in the title, but you never know. So just take it for what it is. 21K on the white one, 25K on the green. In terms of comps, we have, this is the graph over the last 6 months. So up 370%. Is it at the peak? No. Again, like I mentioned, it's down a little bit, but ultimately it's still up quite a bit. So, can you really complain? Probably not. This could have been had all day earlier this year for like 4K, and now it's going for 21. So I think we're doing okay. I think we're doing A-okay. That's just crazy, but it is what it is. And then the blue. Oh, well, we'll see the blue here in a second, but assume the same sort of graph for the green, I would imagine. Probably not an all-time high price, but probably pretty close. And the top row for this auction block, 2 BGS 71 bises and a PSA 10 of the Campeón number 35. So we have an 8.5 for 28K, nearly 29, and then we have a BGS 9 for 36K. So, again, not a whole lot I can say about that. We know where those generally have been. You probably could have had the 8.5 for, 5 to 6K at the bottom. You probably could have had the 9 for, maybe close to 10K at the bottom, maybe a little lower. And now you're looking at 30 and 35, basically. So doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. The 2004 number 35 in between. This is the Campeón as well. At least so it's labeled, and that does check out. The top left badge does say Campeón. PSA 10, can I zoom in and really critique it? Can we? Is there anything here? The edges don't, the edges look pretty good, to be honest, but, there's a little something there. Badge looks decent, maybe a little far out to the right, but still pretty good. And the back, you're probably not going to find a whole lot wrong with it. So, yeah, looks like a 10 to me for the most part. 35K implies it is a 10. And in terms of pricing, again, not the peak. We didn't get the full 40.8, but we got 30, 35, 36. So, up 200% from earlier in the year, which actually isn't as crazy as some of the other ones we've seen. I guess if we want to go 1 year in full, could have been had for 11K. If you want to go back 2 years, there was a sale for 8,700. So, Yeah, the graph's looking okay. It's kind of nervy, but a little bit of a correction I don't think is bad. I see some people being like, oh, messy market, is it tanking? I mean, if it stays up here, I think it's doing pretty good. Now, how far could it fall? I don't know. Truthfully, the messy market seems super strong at the low end, which is promising, but also a little nervy because if the high end does drop, the low end sort of has to go with it. To some degree or another. So, you always wonder about that. But 35K there, market cap at 2 mil here, pop 55. Not bad. And another good week in terms of pricing for sure, I would say. Definitely fun. It was fun to sell some Messies as well. It'll be fun to see what I can put that money towards and see where that goes. But overall, thought it was a really strong week, as most have been. Eusebio's doing big numbers for that yellow Velita. Red Chrome Refractor's doing big numbers. Messi Rookie's doing big numbers. This Pele record did a big number. This Pele Auto did a big number. Lamine Yamal's doing a big number. I mean, it's big numbers all around, So it's just sort of the way it's been the last few months, and we'll see if that continues. Certainly a fun time to be a part of all this. And looking at next week, we'll see what we got. So we start off with a couple more 71 Bisses, PSA 7 and an 8.5. We also have a PSA 10 Messi as well, another PSA 10 as well, PSA 8 Este, decently OC, but it's an 8, so that's fair. PSA 10 Messi from 2015. That's a really good looking Messi, but man, that's also a pretty big price, I will say. PSA 9 Monday Chromo. Definitely got a lot of Messis here. BGS 9 sticker, Messi Ronaldo, Futera patch. We have Estival Green, Messi Red Finest Refractor, Blue Ronaldo, another Este. A lot of Estes, so if you want an Este next week, could be your week. This Ronaldo, always good to look at him. Generally, if you don't know what you're looking for, I would try to aim. If you're going to buy a BGS sticker and you don't know what you're looking for, I would go before 13 million cert number. This is 9 million, so that's fine for me. The colors look good. Everything looks good. The fakes are very washed, and so they kind of look fake, to be honest. But this one is a nice looking one, so just wanted to throw that out there for the people. Got a field level, a red chrome, another field level camo, and a stomp boss as well. Ton of fun stuff next week, and like they all have been, it's been a fun week. So, we'll look forward to that, and hopefully you are as well. But that's going to do it for me today. As always, again, if you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like. Any thoughts on things that sold high or low, or maybe something you snagged, we'd love to hear about it down below in a comment. If you want to see more videos like this, as soon as they go live, make sure to subscribe. But with that said, hopefully you have a wonderful day, and peace.